What franchise benefits from baby boomer business owners retiring? Over the next decade, millions of business owners will be looking for a way to retire, sell, transition, or step away from the companies that they've spent their lives building. And that is exactly where Transworld Business Advisors comes in. Transworld is a business brokerage franchise for people evaluating franchise ownership who want to be part of a long-term need in the small business economy. With more than 40 years in business brokerage and 1,000+ agents and brokers worldwide, we have a model that's built around helping people buy, sell, and grow businesses. And so Transworld franchisees are positioned to serve owners at one of the most important decision points of their lives. See, most of the time when people talk about baby boomers retiring, they talk about people leaving the workforce. But in business brokerage, the bigger story is business ownership. Across the U.S., millions of small and mid-sized business owners are reaching the point where they need to decide what happens next. Do they sell? Do they pass the business on to family members? Do they transition it to employees? Do they bring in a partner to eventually exit? Or do they just close down because there was never really a plan to get out? That is where the scale of this opportunity starts to really come into focus. McKinsey estimates that by 2035, about 6 million U.S. business owners will face ownership transitions as those owners retire. And more than 1 million of those businesses are considered viable candidates for sale or transfer. That represents up to a $5 trillion enterprise value. The Exit Planning Institute says that 73% of privately held businesses are going to transition in the next 10 years. That's a $14 trillion ownership transfer opportunity. Now, put that to the current brokerage infrastructure. IBISWorld counts just over 3,200 business broker businesses in the U.S. in 2025. That does not mean every transition becomes a brokered sale. It does not mean every owner needs the same type of advisor. But it does show the size of the gap between the number of owners who will need guidance and the relatively small professional industry built to help the owners through that process. And this is not only a U.S. story. Australia has more than 2.7 million actively trading businesses, and more than 97% of Australian businesses are small businesses. Earlier, ASB-FEO data also shows that nearly half of Australian small business owners are age 50 and older, and more than 1 in 5 are age 60 and older. Globally, small and mid-sized businesses are the backbone of most economies. The World Bank estimates that SMEs represent about 90% of businesses and are more than half of employment worldwide. Across OECD countries, SMEs represent about 99% of all firms. So when we talk about baby boomer business owners retiring, this is not just a demographic headline. This is a business ownership problem. There are literally millions of owners who built real companies, and many of them will need help understanding their value, finding qualified buyers, protecting confidentiality, negotiating terms, and getting all the way through to closing. That is the market Transworld Business Advisors franchisees are positioned to serve. Baby boomer retirement matters because it puts a timeline on decisions that many business owners have delayed for years. They are not just financial assets on a spreadsheet. Many of these companies were built over 20, 30, or even 40 years. They supported families. They employed local teams. They put kids through school. They served communities. And for some owners, the business is their retirement plan. For others, it's their legacy. But owning a business and selling a business, those are two very different skill sets. An owner may know how to manage employees, serve customers, handle vendors, control costs, and keep the company running, but that does not mean they know how to prepare the business for sale. They may not know what the company is worth. They may not know what buyers are looking for. They may not know how to clean up financials, protect confidentiality, qualify buyers, negotiate terms, or keep a deal moving through due diligence. They may also be underprepared. That is the real issue. The need is not just that owners are aging. The need is that many owners are aging without a clear path to transition. For business brokerage, that creates a long-term demand driver. Owners need valuation guidance. They need buyer access. They need transaction support. They need confidentiality. They need someone who understands how to move from, I might want to sell someday, to a real, qualified, structured process. That is why this opportunity is bigger than one economic cycle or one country. In the US, the projected ownership transition is measured in millions of businesses. In Australia, the ownership base is heavily small business driven and aging. Internationally, small and mid-sized businesses, they make up the majority of businesses in most economies. The common thread is simple. Business owners eventually need a next step. And when they do, there has to be a professional advisor who can help them understand their options and move them through the process. That's the role of a Transworld Business Advisor franchisee. You help business owners understand what their business may be worth. You help them think through timing. You help prepare the business and package it for the market. You help identify and qualify buyers. You help support negotiation, and you help move the transaction all the way through to closing. This is not just matching a buyer and a seller. This is a professional process where you serve as an advisor. For many owners, this may be the first and only time they sell a business. They may be emotional, they may be uncertain, they may have unrealistic expectations. They may be worried about their employees, their customers, family members, or what happens after the sale. The broker's role is to bring structure to that moment. That means asking the right questions, helping the owner understand the market, and guiding the process with professionalism. See, the demand for business brokers, it's tied to a simple reality. Business owners are aging. Many of them are going to need a path to exit. Some will wait too long. Some will assume a family member wants the business only to find out that that's not the case. Some will think their business is worth more than the market supports. Some will get approached by buyers and not know how to evaluate the offer. Some will avoid the conversation until a health issue, burnout, partnership change, or financial pressure forces their decision. That creates a need for advisors who can step in with the process. Business brokerage is not only about finding buyers. It is about helping owners understand what is possible and what it will take to get there. For someone evaluating a franchise opportunity, that matters. You're not looking at a short-term trend. You're looking at a long-term business need and an opportunity that's tied to ownership, retirement, succession, and transition. This is where Transworld Business Advisors is positioned very differently from a general consulting model. Transworld franchisees work directly in the business brokerage space. They help business owners think through value, timing, buyer interest, confidentiality, negotiation, and closing. And because the Transworld model includes business brokerage, franchise consulting, franchise development, and M&A services, our franchisees can serve business owners and buyers across multiple paths. A business owner may want to sell, a buyer may want to acquire an existing company, a corporate professional may be evaluating franchise ownership. A successful business owner may not want to sell, but may want to explore franchising as a path to growth. These conversations are connected. They all sit around the same larger question, which is, what is the next step in business ownership? That is why Transworld's model is broader than a single transaction type. It gives franchisees multiple ways to serve owners, buyers, and entrepreneurs as they make major business decisions. This opportunity is also local. Baby boomer-owned businesses exist in every market. They're in major cities, suburbs, small towns, regional business hubs, and local communities all across the country. They're restaurants, manufacturers, service businesses, distribution companies, professional practices, home service companies, retail businesses, medical practices, and many of those owners may not know where to go when they start thinking about selling. They may ask their accountant, they may ask their attorney, they may ask their banker. They may talk to another business owner who has been through the process. And that is why local relationships matter so much in business brokerage. A Transworld franchisee can become part of that local business ecosystem. Over time, you become known as a resource for owners who are thinking about selling, buyers who are looking for opportunities, and referral partners who need a credible place to send their clients. For a candidate evaluating franchise ownership, the important question is not only whether there is demand. The question is whether you have a model to help you serve that demand. Business brokerage is a specialized profession. You need training, you need tools. You need technology, you need a process. You need brand credibility, and you need support. You need access to people who understand the kinds of situations that you will face with owners, buyers, and deals. And that is part of the value of the Transworld franchise model. You are building your own local business, but you were doing it inside of a system with decades of experience in business brokerage. You're not trying to learn the business alone. You're not trying to build every tool, process, relationship, strategy, or revenue stream from scratch. You are stepping into a professional services franchise with an infrastructure already behind you. So what franchise benefits from baby boomer businesses owners retiring? It's one that's positioned directly in front of business owner exits and ownership transitions. And that is where Transworld Business Advisors fits in. As more owners look to retire, or sell, or transition, or step away from the companies that they've built, they're going to need guidance. They will need valuation, they will need qualified buyers, they will need confidentiality, they will need negotiation support, they will need someone who understands how to get a deal to closing. And that is the work that you will do as a Transworld franchisee. If you are looking for a business brokerage franchise tied to a long-term market need in the US, Australia, Europe, Latin America, or any other international market, this is worth a closer look. See available markets at tworldfranchise.com/target markets.